What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we're looking at FPL Captaincy ahead of Game Week 2. And I got some pretty good reviews on Game Week 1 videos, such as this is the most pointless video you've ever made. So if we can hit those heights again, we're absolutely laughing. We're going to make it, right? So I'm looking forward to this one. We're going to go through the main matches as always, and then talk about the rest for anyone that wants to take a punt on their captaincy. But before we do that, let's talk about Ultimate Fan, who's made some really cool changes. You want to get playing if you're not already. If you haven't checked out Ultimate Fan yet, there is a link in the description below. Get clicking on that if you're 18 and over from the UK and Ireland. Here's what you need to know. It's free to play. There's real money up for grabs. You open packs, you build your team. The best thing for me is it's not a season-long game. Every single week is a new contest, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And basically, like, for example, Brentford versus Crystal Palace this week. Do you want those players for the rest of the season? Probably not. But for this week, they're brilliant because they're playing each other and they could get you big points. If you want some additional players, you can get a silver or a gold pack subscription to get you some extra players, but it's not an absolute must to do that, which I'm going to show you later on and talk through that. But for now, let me show you my team. So I'm going to show you my team now. As you can see, not necessarily loaded with gold players, but my silver boys, Gross and Morpay, both got me points last week. So if you click on them now and then click on them again, you can turn their card over and just see a lot of stats. So that's one thing that's been implemented to the game already, which is really good. The feedback for the game's been brilliant, and then the acted upon feedback has been even better. You got a couple of Thiagos there, for example, in my team. At some point, I'm going to be able to trade them with other people. If you've got a Mo Salah, a spare one, let me know in the comments below because I want him off you when we can trade. And the other cool thing is I got some stats sent over because obviously a lot of people are going to think, well, you have to have gold players. But of the top 20 forwards for Game Week 1, there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were gold cards. The rest were either silver or base cards as well. So it shows you can do well without them. But of course, if you want some extras, you can sign up for the subscription and get your limited number of packs. So if you want to play, link in the description below. Go and click that now if you're 18 and over from the UK or Ireland and get playing. It's a lot of fun. That's right, I'm going to leave the Bruno Fernandes and Mo Salah debate just a little bit longer, but we're going to come on to those two in just a minute. Let's talk about Man City, because this is a pretty damn good match, right, against Norwich at home. Yes, there's some rotation concerns, I get that, but let's talk about the matchup, right? They played against Spurs in Game Week 1, weren't fantastic. Maybe we should have known, right? Pep even said that they might start slow, that they'd started slow the season before. A lot of the players that played in the Leicester game then didn't play in Game Week 1. Obviously, they were still missing some key players. De Bruyne didn't start, and obviously Stones wasn't there. They didn't have Zinchenko at left back either. Kyle Walker wasn't around, although Cancelo is a pretty good replacement. But going into Norwich, it's a huge game, right? Would anybody be surprised if they put 4 or 5 goals past Norwich, okay? Norwich might have played well against Liverpool. They still conceded 3. And Man City are a team that I could see, that they're pretty much the only team in the league right now who are capable of scoring more than Liverpool, I would say. So 4 or 5 goals is not out of the question. Now, obviously, yes, rotation concerns. I think these 3 players are probably the best placed to get minutes and or a good score. I want to start with Jack Grealish. It's not that I'm not convinced about him. He's brilliant. You don't go for £100 million being a bad player, right? I get it. I'm just not sure about his place in this City team yet. Now, again, long term, I'm not concerned at all. He's so good, it's not going to matter. Pep Guardiola is such a good coach. I don't think that's going to matter either. He's going to turn Grealish into the player that he wants him to be, and it might take a little bit of time. He started in the number 8 position, and then he moved to kind of left wing when Sterling came off. I think Jesus kind of played there for a little bit at the start, but Grealish was more playing on the left. And he did seem to kind of drift that way. Now, I don't think that was necessarily him not doing what Pep wanted him to do. It was more to kind of double up on Tanganga with Grealish and Sterling. My main thought is, in that number 8 position, right, if you think of the players that have played there for Man City before, they're kind of pinging passes, right? It's constant passing. It's pass, move, pass, move, pass, move. With Grealish, he wants to carry the ball quite a lot. And he also gets fouled quite a lot as well, which for Aston Villa is kind of great. They get to stop play, they get to regroup potentially. For Man City, they don't want that. They want that fluidity of keeping on playing. So I don't know where Pep's going to play him in the next game. Is he going to play him as a number 8 again? Or is he going to put someone in there that can just pass, move, pass, move, pass, move? And I'm not saying Grealish can't do that. It's just not how his game has been. And it might take a little bit of time to adapt. And if he goes on the left wing, he's not really as much of a goal scorer as someone like Sterling either. So has he got that instinct to get in the box and get on the end of passes? I don't know. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm just not quite sure what he's going to I don't want to say what he's going to offer because it's Jack Grealish, right? But in this particular game as a captaincy option, if you got him, I don't think I captain him. You look at the numbers from the last game. Again, yes, it was against Spurs, so it's a bit more difficult. But I just don't think he's necessarily going to match those numbers that he got from Villa straight away. So I think for captaincy, I would just ignore him. If I'm going to captain someone, it's the other two, Mahrez and De Bruyne. If we got word that Sterling or someone like that was going to start, they'd be a great outside pump. But I don't think they're going to, or at least I don't think we're going to get word. The fact that De Bruyne went from not having a full training session to play in the last kind of 10, 11 minutes makes you think he'll probably start. And when he came on, okay, he didn't really do much in terms of creating chances, having shots or anything like that. But he did kind of speed the game up and get Man City moving. So whether he plays as an 8, whether he comes in as a number 9, he probably would be maybe top or second best captain this week if we could guarantee that he was starting. So if you want something a bit different, this is what you need to be thinking about. And I'm not saying this is the best strategic choice, right? You're probably better off going with a Fernandes or a Salah. This is for people that want to do things a little bit different. And I still don't think there's anything wrong with Mahrez. Like those numbers from the first game, 0.47 expected goals, that's so good, right? I know he scuffed that shot, but you keep getting those chances every game, you're going to get points. And if Mahrez starts, possibly I'd still put him at the top in terms of scoring points. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, the only reason I wouldn't is because of those slight fitness concerns. I don't think we have that with Mahrez, and I do think he's going to start. So I'm going to say that Mahrez is possibly the best captain for Man City this week, and if you've got him, like a lot of people have, you could risk going for it. Obviously, you're playing against the crowd, and some of that has to come into your thinking. Most people are going to captain Salah and Fernandes, but if you want to do something different and you can't afford De Bruyne and you've got Mahrez, he could be the one this week. Now, this is an interesting conversation because if Bruno Fernandes blanks last week, I don't think anywhere near as many people are thinking about captaining this week. Now, there's not a problem with changing your opinion based on a game, right? If Bruno Fernandes is going to keep playing that role where he's constantly running in behind, then yeah, he's brilliant. He's going to get way more goal-scoring opportunities. But I would question, right, when I'm thinking about whether to captain him, I would question his underlying numbers. Now, I'm not saying whether he can keep them up or anything like that, okay? It's one game, it doesn't really matter. But if you would guess beforehand whether he would have basically had a higher expected assists, i.e. he's the creator, or higher expected goals, based on the whole of last season, basically, you expect him to create more. So that tells me that something different happened in that game. Now, Leeds left a lot of space, right? They were able to get through. If you watched Greenwood, or not even if you watched him, but if you looked at his heat map afterwards, he did drop deep quite a bit, which let Fernandes run on. Is that going to happen against Southampton? Potentially not. They might deal with that a little bit better than Leeds did. Obviously, Southampton have lost Vestergaard, so I do completely understand why people are looking at it. Could I see Man United scoring 3 or more goals against Southampton? I think there is a chance. And if you're going to back a team to score that many goals, then you probably go with a guy that's going to be most involved, which is Bruno Fernandes. So do I think he's a good captain option? Yes. Do I think he's better than Mo Salah? Not really, because I think him having such a high expected goals versus expected assists is going to be an anomaly. I don't think we're going to see that too many more times this season. He could now go on a little streak. He's still got penalties in his locker, so I still really like him, right? And I'm sure he could. Again, people keep commenting saying you say he's only a penalty guy. I'm not saying that at all. We know he can score goals. We're talking about a guy that's got something ridiculous like 47 returns in like 51 games since he joined the league. He's insane, right? Penalties or not, he's absolutely crazy. I think even when I removed the penalties, it's like 34 returns. So he's always involved. I just wonder if the game is going to play out the same as it did against Leeds. And let's not forget, this one's not Old Trafford either. It's away. It doesn't mean that Southampton suddenly becomes this really difficult fixture, but you've not got the Old Trafford crowd behind you as well. So I don't think anyone's making a mistake by going for Bruno Fernandes. I just think from what we know, he's more of an assister than he is a goal scorer, and I'm not sure his role in the team has changed enough to make me think otherwise. If he does keep going past Greenwood, and if Pogba plays like he did in the first game, and as you can see, he was kind of the creator, obviously got his 4 assists as well, then maybe Bruno Fernandes does turn into someone that's going to score a few more goals this season. So I don't think that if anyone goes for him, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a mistake, right? It's Bruno Fernandes. But I do think when we talk about Mo Salah in a sec, he is the better option. Pogba, I've put on this list because he got 4 assists, but we're not captaining him. I really don't think it's a good choice. Greenwood, I think, is not bad, right? Again, his role in that first game, he didn't get too many shots off in the box, right? He did pick up some good positions, and the pass never found him. Obviously, stats don't show you those kind of things. So I don't think we've got anything to worry about. If I was going for a Man United player that's not Bruno Fernandes, then it would be Greenwood as my second option. And I just don't think there's really too many other options we consider at Man United. So Bruno Fernandes, great option, Just don't be expecting a hat-trick every single week. It doesn't mean he can't get another double-figure haul. So it's quite funny, right? I joked around at the start of the video about how last week, only a few people, by the way, right? So I really was only joking around. I haven't taken it to heart or anything like that. But they said it was the most pointless video because Salah was playing Norwich, and therefore everyone already knew he was the best captain. I literally said in that video that I thought Fernandes was kind of second best. So I did kind of rate him, just not as high as Salah. And the funny thing is, I'm kind of the same this week. I think Salah, again, is the standout. But because Fernandes has scored a hat-trick, suddenly the conversation changes. Let me say this, right? If one of you, like, there's, again, no worries. If you don't want to captain Salah, that's absolutely fine. I would be more than happy for people to not go with what I say and manage your own team. This is a fun game when you make your own decisions. So, like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that I know best. I'm just giving my opinion, right? Which is that Salah is the best captain this week. But if one of your reasons, and you can have many reasons for not captaining, but if one of them is he's playing in the early kickoff, or his record against Burnley is not very good, for me, they're rubbish reasons to not captain someone. Mo Salah, right, I'm looking at it here. He's had 138 returns, goals or assists. 138 in 159 Premier League appearances. I would say, outside of FPL, he's still kind of underrated in football in terms of just how good he is. Oh, he only scores goals. Yeah, he scores a freaking lot of them as well. 138 returns in 159 games. This is Mo Salah. Do you think on Saturday morning he's going to get up, he's looking in the mirror, he's brushing his teeth, he's thinking, Christ, my record against Burnley is just so bad. How am I, Mo Salah, 98 goals in 159 games? How am I going to score against Burnley? Sean Dyche, he's a genius. I just can't do it. He's not going into the game like that. Sometimes people have bad records. It happens. It doesn't mean that the next game is going to be is going to be the same, right? And one player, which if you've watched my video for a while, that I always cite with this, is the reverse when they've got a good record. So ages ago, not that long ago, but when Lukaku was in the league, every single season, he's got this great record against West Ham. He's got this great record against West Ham. It's like 8-8. It's 9-9. And then one season, he blanked against West Ham because guess what? That can happen. And the next season, it was like, Lukaku's got a great record. Instead of 8-8, it's now 8-9, right? And these records, they don't really matter. Okay, maybe there's a psychological thing. If a player knows they always score against a team, maybe that makes them play a little bit better. But I don't think the increase is so much that it matters. And I think the same is for the reverse. Mo Salah's not going into that game worrying that he's playing against Burnley. And I think we have to get around the fact that Burnley aren't this really good defensive, deep line team where Nick Pope's going to save everything, or the goalkeeper's going to save everything, whatever it might be. Like, they were quite open last year. This is Liverpool at Anfield. The record's great. Salah's record at Anfield is great. And again, I wouldn't really pay too much attention to that, but in general, playing at home is better than playing away, right? We know there's a home advantage, even if it's just a little bit, right? So again, Salah's great. You don't need me to tell you that. But again, don't go with the he's playing against Burnley thing and his record is bad. Like, every time I see that, I think, I just don't care. Burnley are bad, Salah is good. There's not really too much more to it. While I've got off that rant, let me get onto a couple of other players. Mane obviously didn't quite return what we would have wanted or what owners would have wanted him to in the first game. Again, doesn't make him a bad option. You're always betting against a big crowd when you go against Salah if you go for Mane instead. Salah's got penalties. I just wouldn't go for Mane this week if you've got both. If you've only got Mane, you could go for it, right? We know he can get a big score in any given game. Burnley's no different. I do think Trent's, if you like a defender captain, got to be up for discussion. Again, a clean sheet is never guaranteed, but against Burnley, there's a good chance, especially for Liverpool with Van Dijk. I'd hope that Fabinho will come back in and start from the beginning as well. So Trent clean sheet and then attacking potential as well. Like, if you look at those numbers, his expected assists and expected goals weren't that far behind Mane. And when you know that he's got clean sheets to come as well and potential bonus points, I do think Trent's a good captain option. But if you've got Salah, it's no contest. So this whole Burnley record, let's hope he puts it to bed. But if he blanks again, we're going to hear all about it again next season or even in the next match. So I know it's easy when talking about the rest just to list a bunch of players. So that is probably what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try and just give you some brief reasons, because ultimately, once you've talked about Man United, Liverpool, Man City, realistically, you're then talking about maybe more punty players. And so this is for people that want to go a little bit different. first one is, like, if we're sticking to big hitters, is Lukaku, right? Let's wait and see what Tuchel says. I'm recording this before a bunch of press conferences. It'll probably go live before a bunch of press conferences as well. So keep an eye. But it sounds like he's probably going to start against Arsenal. And I think last year, Tuchel had Chelsea defending great, but also they were creating quite a few chances, and they did under Lampard as well. So I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. Just got to hope that Lukaku's on the end of them and not Werner, because I don't know what's going on with Werner. But I think Lukaku, right, for those of you, and I know a few of you have, you've either kept money behind, or you had a forward spot like a Vardy or someone ready to like spend an extra million, I think it is, to get to Lukaku. I don't see anything wrong with captaining them against Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal are at home, so they can't play as badly as they did against Brentford, and they'll make things difficult for Chelsea. But can I see Lukaku scoring? I absolutely can on his second debut, essentially, and like how many Premier League clubs has he already played for as well. But I can see him scoring. Obviously, Son against Wolves. The only reason I probably wouldn't look at captaincy this week versus next week is I'd want to see how they deal with a team that's probably not going to play as much, so they're not going to be able to necessarily counter-attack as much as they did previously. Obviously, it's Nuno's old team, so he'll know the players, but the manager's going to employ a different style. So I don't think that's a dead cert, but if I had Son, I would consider it. But I feel like Lukaku's the one, right? If you're going outside of the three teams we spoke about. Just two other matches that stand out to me for goals. Crystal Palace, Brentford. Like, I'm just going to say it. I think Brentford will find it much more difficult playing Palace away than they did when they played Arsenal at home. Again, most people haven't got like a Zaha, but you could look to captain someone like him. Obviously, Tony and Bremo at Brentford as well are options too, so you could look there. I think there's goals in that one. And I also think there's goals in Villa Newcastle. I think Ings and Wilson in particular, two strikers, we know they're going to play up front, got penalties as well, at least when El Ghazi isn't on the pitch. And we've already seen Watford put 3 past Villa. Newcastle have conceded 4 goals. I don't think that's really out of the blue. They're both pretty poor defences. Villa are at home. Maybe it'll be a bit different. Martinez could have another Superman performance, right? Because he can just do that. But I think there's goals in that game. So Lukaku, I think we've got to keep an eye on. Obviously, I've said a lot of times, I'm not worried about him, but I am thinking about him later on, like from game week 7. And against Arsenal, I just think he's the kind of player that could bully them, right? Like we saw Tony do, apart from Lukaku will hopefully get on the end of more shots. And then, Palace and Brentford. Let me know if you're considering anyone outside the 3 teams that I spoke about. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Do give it a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. And leave me a comment below. Let me know who you're captain. Are you going differential? Or are you sticking with the likes of Bruno with Salah? Let me know below. I've put this video out a little bit earlier on in the day because later on I'm going to hopefully have another video out. It's similar to something I did in pre-season, but hopefully on a bigger scale. We'll see how it goes. We'll improve it as we go, and if you enjoy it, maybe I can do it as more of a weekly thing. So wait and hopefully look forward to that if it comes out. It'll be around 7 o'clock tonight, I would say. If you haven't checked Patreon out as well, there's a link in the description below. I'll be doing a Q&A over there, which will go out this afternoon, probably after the press conferences too. And lastly, before I forget, don't forget to check out Ultimate Fan. If you're 18 and over from the UK or Ireland, get it going, get it playing, I should say. Link in the description below. Get it downloaded and play it alongside FPL. Like I said, it's free to play. There are subscriptions, so you pay, I think the gold one's around £5. You get a few extra packs during the month every Tuesday, but you don't have to pay for that. You can just play free to play. And there's 8.5 brands up for grabs in game week 2, and then game week 3 there'll be a new contest all the way through to game week 38. So every week there's another chance of winning. So get downloading that. Link in the description below, and hopefully I'll catch you later with another video. If I don't, I'll be back tomorrow with a deadline stream. See you then.